What? It's for social media. Are we tired of blurry water shots yet, Jordan? Welcome back, DPReview TV viewers. Chris Nichols here, and today we are going to be playing with the new Hasselblad X1D version 2. Let's take it out, see how they've changed it. So we've been shooting the Hasselblad X1D Mark II for a few days now, just trying to get a good feel for it. They sent us a couple of lenses. I got the 135 f2.8 and I have the 30mm 3.5. But what I really want to do with the Hasselblad is play to its strengths, so really like studio portraits, landscape kind of stuff. I think that's what a camera like this is going to do a really good job at. I'm going to talk about the autofocus, but frankly, it's not amazing. So I certainly wouldn't use this for fast action sports or, even taking pictures with my kids. It was really quite difficult. But for this kind of stuff, totally within its wheelhouse. So the first thing you notice about the X1D II, it is a beautiful camera. I mean, just gorgeous to look at. Over the previous version, this is all about enhancing the user experience. And with the body, there are some small changes. I do love the steel gray color. I think it's really nice, nicer than the sort of brighter gray on the first version. The grip's been modified slightly. It is incredibly comfortable, molded perfectly, probably one of the nicest grips I've ever personally used. All the issues that we had with the first camera as far as laggy controls and dials that didn't adjust properly, all of those issues have been sorted out. It's great to see. And the screens on the original camera weren't awesome either, and that's also been improved. Now the back LCD screen is now 2.36 million dots. I do like it. It's much sharper. I will say though, I still find it's not intensely bright. On a day like today, it's okay, but on a sunny day, you really got to boost it up, and that's going to hurt the battery life. The EVF is also improved. We're up to 3.69 million dots, and it gives you a 60 frame per second refresh rate. So a much nicer experience than I believe it was 37 frames per second on the first camera. The EVF though, it still does have a little bit of smearing. If my eye moves in the frame, things kind of go a little weird for a little bit, but overall it's an improvement. The camera's a much lower price point than the original was, but I do still feel like these screens, although improved, are definitely behind what the competition is offering at this same kind of price point. Now, one of the real challenges on the original X1D was the startup time. It took a really long time and it was painful. So on the X1D Mark II, I'm definitely noticing they've sped it up. It makes a difference. Shutting down the camera, turning it back on isn't as painful an experience as it was before, but I still definitely like to rely on the sleep mode. That works really well. The camera just kind of goes to a sleep mode and then just tap the shutter, it wakes up, and I'm finding that's a great way to conserve my battery life. I do also feel like the X1D II has definitely better battery life than the X1D, even though we're using the same batteries. So the touchscreen interface for focusing works really nicely now. It doesn't have the lag that it used to have, quite responsive. I can pinch right on the screen to change between 3 different sizes of autofocusing point. One of the complaints I do have though is that autofocusing point, I can't get it to a pinpoint level. I want an even smaller one, especially if I'm trying to get people's pupils. Remember, we don't have any advanced eye detect AF here, so when I was doing portraits, I found that to be limiting, and I had to resort to manual focusing. Lots of shots of portraits where the eyelashes or the eyebrows are in focus, but not the eye itself. That was disappointing. Out here though, for landscape, it's very easy. It is contrast detect only, so it is a ponderously slow autofocusing system. A waterfall, it's not going anywhere. I don't have a problem with that. I do also love that I can bring my eye right up to the EVF and use it as a touchpad autofocuser. I always like that feature, and I'm glad to see it here. So for still life, it's definitely usable. For anything else, I do wish it was more sophisticated and faster. One thing I do want to mention is, first off, the 135mm lens that I've been using, beautiful portrait lens, beautiful soft backgrounds, very sharp. But the X1D Mark II does have a nice trick up its sleeve. It has an incredibly fast flash sync speed. You can basically sync studio strobes at any of the shutter speeds that are available on the camera. And if you want to do things like shoot outdoors with strobes and bring that background exposure down, it can certainly do that very, very well. So a couple small changes here from the original camera. The GPS unit that you could buy used to be a separate piece. Now it's built into the camera. I mean, I myself personally don't use the GPS very often, but there it is. It's now incorporated. Dual card slots as usual, but they're now both UHS 2 speed. That's a nice improvement as well. The camera does have a slight improvement in its continuous shooting speed from 2 frames per second to 2.7 frames per second. But to be honest, this is still not a good strong point for this camera. You get a lot of blackout time when you're shooting continuously. There's even honestly quite a bit of blackout time when you're shooting at regular shutter speed. So a sports and action camera, it is not. It is quite difficult to track moving subjects. I was a little disappointed though to see that we still don't have support for Android phone users, which I am of course myself. I remember when the first X1D came out, I asked, when are we going to have Focus app for Android so we can do remote firing and things like that? And they said, oh, we're working on it. And that was back in the first version. Now we got the second version of the camera, and it is still exclusively just Apple iOS users. So yeah, I don't know, 70% of you are happy? Now, of course, cameras aren't just photo-based. They can do video as well. So here to talk about video, it's Jordan. So, you know, my impression of the X1D II after using it for a few days, as a landscape camera, it is an awesome choice. I mean, it's very compact, you've got great lenses, it's easy to take around here, and the limitations of the camera don't really interfere when you're trying to do landscape photography. Portraits in the studio, it'd be okay, but honestly, I'd want a camera that has more sophisticated autofocus. Something like the Sony a7R IV or the Fuji GFX100 is, in a lot of cases, gonna honestly outcompete this kind of camera. And that's where I really feel that the X1D Mark II is losing out. This is exactly what the X1D should have been, but now it's just too little too late. So keep in mind that we've seen this 50 megapixel sensor before on the X1D, and although this camera's price point has dropped quite a bit, it is still a pricey camera. You look at a Sony a7R IV, it's more affordable, it's got an even more compact body design, infinitely more versatile, and we're getting 10 more megapixels. Or look at the Fuji GFX100. Although that body is more expensive, we're gonna double our megapixels, and I have awesome autofocus to boot. And if you consider that Hasselblad lenses are more expensive than the Fuji lenses, it actually all becomes a wash in the end. I gotta give kudos to Hasselblad though for dropping the price on this body, at least to get it to a more competitive price point. And I do think there are people who are gonna like this camera. I mean, if you're an Apple iPhone user who doesn't mind waiting for video, you don't need anytime soon because who knows when that update's gonna come out, and is gonna do more slow moving photography, travel, landscape especially, studio portraiture, more casual portraits, nothing fast action like sports or kids running around or anything, you actually might find this camera is gonna be a very good choice for you. The image quality is still solid, the lenses are excellent, but they are expensive. The camera is gorgeous to have on you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please don't forget, comments below, we want to know what you think. Instagram and Twitter, check those out. Subscribe to the channel, don't forget to click notifications so you get more videos from us. And don't forget to go to DPReview.com, check out the sample galleries for this. You can see the photos we took today, full image quality, and make those judgments for yourself.